It's memory that exists in possibility fields that recycles as perceptual space-time event.
Back to my first question. What the hell are you talking about?
Are you a noun or a verb? When you ask yourself, who am I? Have you ever wondered who's asking the question? Do you have a soul? What makes you joyful? Do you have a life purpose? Who are you? I'm Dr. Deepak Chopra. I'm here with Michael Shermer, who is my worst critic, but one of my best friends as well. Welcome, Michael.
Thanks, Deepak.
So let's start with you asking me some questions, and I'll ask you some.
Yeah, okay. So I was intrigued by this idea of the 20 questions, so I crowdsourced it to my tweet skeptics. And so they fired me with lots of questions. So we'll get right off to the most important, the best question I got. What in the hell are you talking about?
I am talking about self-awareness.
But see, what confuses people is like when you say things like, when you look at a rose, it's a space-time event in consciousness, or that consciousness is a quantum superposition of possibilities. It's that sort of thing where us skeptics go, what in the hell are you talking about?
Everything that you experience occurs in your consciousness. If you weren't aware of it, then for all practical purposes, it wouldn't exist. And what we call perceptual reality are events in our consciousness. They occupy moments in time, and they occur in the space of our consciousness. So there's nothing mysterious about calling it a space-time event in consciousness. And quantum superposition simply means that before you observe any event, it exists as a possibility.
Somebody else wanted to know what you thought about the Higgs boson, and are you going to write a book about the spirituality behind the Higgs boson?
I've already written a number of articles on the Higgs boson. I've also written an article in the Journal of Cosmology. The Higgs boson is a mathematical entity. Once you measure it, then you see it as a particle. Before you measure it, it's a possibility wave, like any other particle.
Okay, well, this sounds frivolous, but actually I think it's deep, and you'll know that. What came first, the chicken or the consciousness?
They simultaneously co-arise. So you can't have an object unless there's an observer, and you can't have an observer unless there's something to observe. 4 billion years ago, what occurred was not an experience. It was possibility waves. Now the human nervous system experiences those possibility waves as green, as a tree, as a cloud, as the stars, as the Milky Way. And of course, those perceptual experiences are different from different species. So when a honeybee looks at a flower, it doesn't see a flower because it senses ultraviolet. A snake experiences that as the radiation of infrared. A bat experiences that as the echo of ultrasound. So science does not tell us anything about fundamental reality. It only tells us about a species-specific perceptual reality.
But so let's just take this object, this iPad. So if a bat is coming at it, it sends echo signals, and then it veers off and doesn't hit it. And it would describe it in echolocation language if it could, and I would describe it in our language. But it really actually exists, whether there's bats or me or you.
It doesn't exist as an iPad. It exists as all those possibilities of perception.
Okay, I don't get that. There it is. It really exists.
The look, the color, the shape, the texture, the smell, and the sound you made when you banged it, that's a human perceptual experience.
Of a real object that really exists, whether I'm here or not.
Yes, of an object that exists as possibilities that precipitate as that particular object in a human nervous system to human experience. Other species would experience something else.
Okay, all right. Are you God? Are we gods?
We are God in drag.
Well, I'm just in black.
Yeah, but
Okay.
for God, that's
Okay.
a disguise. Yes, we are all God. I used to be an atheist till I realized I was God.
Oh, well, I might go for that. Okay, I sprained my thumb. Is there any quantum healing I could do other than wrapping it that would help? Or in other words, what do you mean by quantum healing? How is this
By
different from
quantum healing? I mean a return to homeostasis or self-regulation. So when you're in a very quiet state of mind, when there is no disturbance of internal dialogue, and your mind goes into complete silence, then your body also goes into complete silence. And when your body is in silence, it self-regulates. It's a natural thing. You know, the first thing we learn in medical school is homeostasis, which is self-regulation.
But we're all dying, right?
Oh, yes, if you're born, you will die.
So life after death, immortality, do you think when your physical body is gone, that your memories are gone? Or are they transferred?
Here's the thing to realize, that there is no such thing as a permanent identity. The physical body you had today is not the one that you had as an infant. But there is something that is at the background of this that is not in space-time, that is eternal. It's the ground of existence from which all existence emerges.
How do you know?
How do I know? I experience it every day when I go beyond my internal dialogue, when I do not identify with either my body or mind.
I don't know what any of this means. You mean through meditation?
Through meditation.
You just have a thought that...
No, you don't have a thought.
You don't have a thought.
So it's the absence of all
Absence of thought, okay. Where is the pattern of Michael Shermer? I know where it's stored now, in my DNA, my proteins, and so on. Where is it when I'm dead?
It returns to the potential from where it came.
But what medium holds it? Like the software is held in the hardware of this device. Where's the hardware equivalent of my pattern?
Possibility waves. When a particle is no longer being observed or interacting with other particles, it returns to its potential.
Could that pattern
so the universe is constantly actual and potential.
Right, so
actual and potential. Actual and potential. And your real identity is not the skin-encapsulated ego confined to a brief sliver of time in 13.8 billion years of evolution. Your real identity is the total activity of the universe. So your real identity is God.
Back to my first question. What the hell are you talking about?
I'm talking about reality
Okay.
as opposed to perception.
I'm talking about reality as opposed to perception. At least I thought I was.
No, you're talking about perceptual experience.
I understand the difference between the objective and the subjective, and the feeling is different.
There is only the subjective. The tree is experienced in consciousness. The whole universe is experienced in the subject, nowhere else.
Okay.
Michael, what is science?
Science is the collective enterprise to try to understand the world through a particular method that involves verifying results and methods.
How do you define spirituality?
I define spirituality as just an emotion you have when you're feeling in awe and wonder at the universe around you.
Are particles possibility waves until measured?
I guess, according to quantum physicists, particles are possibilities, yes, but they really exist.
What's a Higgs boson?
Beats me.
What's an empirical fact?
Well, an empirical fact, then, there is a certain amount of subjectivity to the fact that it's people doing the observing. But if we get a consensus among the experts on a particular fact that's in their field, I'm confident that it's empirical and real.
What is the difference between skepticism and cynicism?
Cynics are just pessimists about the world. Skeptics are just taking a scientific questioning perspective. It's open inquiry.
I love that, and I want everyone to listen to that definition, okay? A lot of people who call themselves skeptics are actually cynics. So this definition is very important. What is love?
Love is a deep feeling you have for another human being.
Do we have free will and choice?
I believe we have free won't.
Mm-hmm.
That is to say, we make choices amongst all the different options we have by resisting the temptation to do all these other things, and you do this one. And so it is a form of free will.
How does a neural network create inspiration or creativity?
I think there's probably a certain amount of like new ways of neurons firing in a particular pattern that has not been done before. So like one of these problems where that are online, and you have to solve some particular problem, and 99% of it do it this way, and that's not the way to do it. And so somebody who's creative, who comes up with it, probably just has their neurons firing in some particularly unique way.
You realize, of course, you're using dualistic language.
I can't help it.
Okay.
It's just it's in the culture.
What is time?
Time is what happens when we don't think about the space between cause and effect.
Will science ever know what happened prior to the Planck epoch, 10 to the power of minus 43 seconds post Big Bang, because laws of nature did not exist at that time?
Yes, well, I think there's some really smart people working on this problem that will figure it out. I'm not a Mysterian that just believes certain things are inherently unknowable. I think that's a knowable problem, and those smart guys like Stephen Hawking will figure it out.
Why is there a universe?
Why is there anything? I think it's because there cannot not be a universe. Nothing is unstable. Existence and matter is stable, therefore.
Why are there laws of nature?
Because we happen to live in a universe that has laws of nature. Otherwise, we wouldn't be asking
How
the
did they
question.
come about?
Well, who knows? Nobody knows yet.
How do you explain neuroplasticity?
Oh, I think it's just built into the hardware to be flexible enough to adapt to a changing environment. I think that's part of our makeup.
Do you think all genes are deterministic?
No, not deterministic, influential.
Can you change your brain?
I hope so, because I'm trying every day.
Can you explain the origins of life?
I think there's a half a dozen different good theories on the origins of life.
Is there any scientific evidence that shows us how life began?
Yeah, I think there is good evidence for this. I think in the research labs of those who study this stuff, that is, I think what you're getting at, is there a reductionistic way to get from molecules to protein chains to actual self-organizing living organisms? Yes, I think there is.
What are particles?
Possibilities.
Where? Where?
In your mind.
Very good.
Did I get the right answer?
Yes. Does evolution explain the origin of life or merely the transformation of life?
Well, technically as a field, it's just about the transformations of life. So the origins of life is a different field.
Correct. How do you define...
Correct. Yay.
how you passed on that one. How do you define life?
Well, I just follow the biological example. It has to be self-replicating and self-generating its own energy source and all that.
Are you mystified by your existence or you take it for granted?
I pretty much take my existence for granted most of the time. I only think about it when I'm talking to people like you.
What is a molecule? Is it a noun or a verb?
Oh, I would describe it as a noun.
Oh, so not as an activity.
Well, it depends what you mean.
I
When
think
the molecules are doing something.
I think a molecule is a snapshot of an activity.
I don't know.
And by naming it, we make a noun out of it.
Okay.
Does Darwin explain evolution to you in its completeness?
Well, not completeness. No one theory does that, but he gave us a good start.
Do you think there's such a thing as self-directed evolution for human beings?
Yes, now I think we're taking control of our own evolution.
Do you think human evolution is complete?
No, we have a long ways to go.
Do black holes and their activity and dark matter and dark energy have anything to do with our existence right now?
Well, only in the sense of we wouldn't exist if there wasn't a universe, but that's kind of self-explanatory. By the way, on the future evolution, I hope the big researchers in this area figure this out before I'm gone. Because I'm not banking on your possibilities of coming back in a million years from now and some other
You
possibility.
doesn't exist to begin with.
Okay, well, that's depressing.
I was reading the Scientific American issue in which you wrote about free will, the recent one.
Yeah.
And there's a big cover story on black holes.
Yeah.
And at the end of the article, the author actually says himself that he was never a believer in the anthropic principle, but the fact that the constants of nature are so precise and that the activity of the universe is so self-regulated that he has to question, that it's all an accident.
That's okay. I think the important thing here is that it's always okay to say, I don't know, we don't know, maybe we'll never know, but let's keep trying. That's one thing, and just let it sit there. Like, I don't know, it's a mystery. As opposed to like taking the mystery and then wrapping it into a big worldview from which you structure your life or change things or whatever, that I think goes beyond that. And I think we all attempted to do that. I think you do that, I'm sure I do.
No. My definition of God is the mystery of my existence. That's my definition. My definition of God is my highest instinct to know myself.
That's fine. I'm okay with that, but you must know that 99% of people, that's not what they think of when they think of
That's
God.
an old-fashioned idea that God is a dead white male
Yes.
in the sky.
Right.
You know, that...
Well, good luck on changing Americans on that. I've been working on that.
Okay.
Now that's the hard problem.
Well, that was very kind of you to do this, and
Thank
I'm
you,
very
Deepak.
grateful.
Thanks for including me.
Grateful to you.
Yep, likewise.